What do you say, folks? We on. Yep. Got Buttons and Miss Hannah here. We ain't even got started. I'm already pushing the wrong button.
Yeah. And I just asked him too, did you push the intro button? Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought I did.
So here we go again, y'all.
Y'all got the countdown this time instead of the
Intro
yeah, the old intro Johnny put together for us. But hope everybody having a alright, I'm gonna have to work around that too. Yeah. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Lord's Day. It was the devil was trying to test us this morning for church.
That's an understatement.
But we made it. We didn't give up. Pushed on through there.
We like your shirt.
Thank you, brother. Man, had a good fella over there in Mississippi, Louisiana. Good fella over there in Louisiana. Man, got these. Y'all want you some? Go holler at Kodiak Farm and Bees, and that man get you fixed up with some of his apparel there.
Right.
But
already.
yeah, let's see who I was in here right fast. All right. Now, what I did do, I flipped the camera around, so my exit button is on that side and not this side. Well, yeah, either way, it's on the opposite side of what it was last week. So, old buttons over here don't go to smashing the wrong deal.
Oh, y'all just wait. It's coming.
I hope not, but
it's coming.
Sarah Wood, appreciate y'all coming. Mark Miller, brother, it's good to see you. James, Michael, Lee,
Todd, and Dennis Counts, and there's all kinds of people. The guy from New Zealand is in here.
Kyle from New Zealand. Oh, hey, brother, appreciate you coming by, man.
I'm fixing to you out to change.
Let's see, you got Dennis in there, you said?
Dennis Counts, not Dennis Fine.
Okay. But we're coming off this Independence Day, freedom from tyranny week. God bless America. Yes, sir. Y'all see that right there? We love our country. But coming off our 4th of July week and all, we had a pretty good 4th.
We had a pretty quiet course.
Yes, we did. We stayed home and just let everybody else have it. Let's see, Grams, Bees, Jody. Hey there, appreciate you coming in.
I was told over and over today how old I am, so we acted our age this year and just stayed home like the old people.
We did. It was nice though. Heard everybody else around us doing their festivities and celebrating, but to be honest, around here, y'all, we in the country, and a lot of these rednecks ain't fitting. Now, don't get me wrong, some of them, they're going to go buy fireworks, but when they buy fireworks, it's something that's going to blow up. But I say 50% of it is fireworks, and the other 60% is shotguns, firearms of some sort. Everybody.
It's the 4th of July Southern style.
They'd be celebrating. But we enjoy it. Yes, sir. But other than that, it's a busy week.
That's an understatement.
I don't know if we had mentioned it in our last little live, but we have been doing some hard tile for a fella, ceramic tile, and about the second day we was over there, I was chipping up some old tile to put down for the new. Was it first day? Well, Hannah wasn't feeling too well that day, and she stayed home. And it didn't take me, I don't know, about 4 or 5 hours to take and do what I was having to do over there to get ready to start laying this floor. And y'all will come out. I got my mason jar, tea glass in hand, got my tool bags over my shoulders, and I was headed home basically, wrapping it up for the day. I just had one little chore left before I could pull out the driveway, and that was knock out my filter for the big shop vac. Well, as soon as I come outside, I want to take and get everything ready to go home. I see this car creeping by, and I look up, and there's this blue and white, I don't know, green and all kinds. It was a calico car, best way to explain that thing. Y'all had this tripod deal up on the top of it. Then it had a bubble of some sort sitting on top of that. Well, I got to reading them fancy little words on that car, and it was the Google Earth people running around taking pictures for the government. And
Taking pictures for the government.
yeah,
Really?
putting us all on the internet there. Well, I seen old boy driving by. He was on the cell phone chit chatting with somebody, and I didn't think he was going to take my picture, y'all. I really didn't. But as I'm walking out, I got my old filter in hand, and I raised that baby up high in the air. I'm headed home, boy.
And it got him.
It got me. It did take my picture.
He's on Google now,
So,
flailing a shop vac filter in there.
so if you do a Google search, I wish I could tell y'all where it was, but unfortunately, it shows the man's address and everything. Whenever you look at it on Google Earth, it shows the gentleman's physical address, and
We can't get that out.
nah, I'm not going to put that out there on that man. But maybe we'll take a still picture and cut out his address or something and try to. If y'all want to check it out, we'll stick it in the community or section one day.
Dan Weaver, did you see his comment?
No.
He got to spend the 4th of July on the battleground of Gettysburg.
No, you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
What?
So that's awesome.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
I got to go as a kid. And yes, me and my brothers made the drastic charge all the way across that field. But I would love to go back as an adult.
Man, that would be awesome.
Oh, well, my daddy still got pictures of me hanging off a tree limb out there somewhere in the middle of that field.
Yeah, who else we got in here? See Bob pop in, Hope. Seen y'all come in. Appreciate y'all.
More people. Ed came in, and Mr. Dan Weaver came.
Well, hey, thank y'all. Thank y'all. Yeah, man, that would have been. I might have to try that one year. Take and go to Gettysburg, one of them old battlefields, and
The most
do the
memorable part of that trip, there was 5 of my siblings, well, me included, made 5 of us with my parents that went. And by the time that week was over, my dad was over it. He was not stopping at another hotel. He did stop and get us something to eat and stuff, but we literally drove from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania to Mobile, Alabama, nonstop with 5 kids in the car.
that man was on a mission.
As a kid, I was ready to pull my hair out to get away from my brothers. We were all over it, but it was a really fun trip.
Then said lots of cannons and reenactments.
That would be awesome to see, like a real reenactment out there. Cause that place is huge.
They the little piece y'all see in the intro of the cannon for us back in May. Do they do it in May? Or is it? Yeah, it's May. Every year, and we'll talk about this little old city here in a few minutes a little bit more, but Central Alabama, y'all check it out. It's a pretty interesting little read. And Hannah's grandma's house, y'all, is literally, I don't know, just maybe 200 or 300 yards from where this historical event went down. But that's where the signing of the war officially ending it east of the Mississippi. There was 9,000 Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana Confederates up there, along with Union, and they was fixing to have them a throwdown up there. But apparently, word got down from, up in Appomattox and all that getting signed. But they do a reenactment every year up in Central, but it's a little small one. There's probably 40, 50 folks that do the reenactment. But after talking to them gentlemen, they say that Gettysburg is one of the funnest that they do, and they do one down at the old Jefferson Davis place.
That's what I was just telling Lee we're going to.
And yeah, we want to go check that out down there at the old Davis place.
Like the the reenactors, I guess. We got to talk to a bunch of them after the one up by the house a couple months ago. But I mean, literally, there was like maybe 20 men as soldiers out there. Which, don't get me wrong, they did an awesome job. But they said the one in Biloxi, there's like 1,500 people that volunteer and go up there to do the reenactment. But I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, we're gonna have to ride down there and check that one out too. But I was gonna save this last, but I guess while we on our patriotism and loving God and loving our country, had me a humbling moment the other day. We was headed home from a doctor's appointment, and right before we got into actual downtown Mobile, we're about 25, 30 miles outside of downtown Mobile, but we have to go there to take care of all big business, if you will. Well, right before we got into town, I've been dragging it out. Didn't put no gas in the truck. So the old gas light came on. I told her, I said, we leave this doctor, we'll stop at one of these filling stations and throw a little bit in here and get on to the house.
You want to get on camera too, don't you?
Where's he at? There he is.
Just trying to knock my coffee out.
Well, we headed home, and I passed every gas station from downtown Mobile to pretty close, I'd say about 10 miles from where we live. And I looked and I told myself, we might be able to make it one to the house, but I wasn't going to chance it. And here's the weird part, y'all. About 4 years ago at this gas station, I protested this gas station. Okay.
That is yet another understatement. Just.
Well, for all these years I protested that place, I wasn't going to go in there, spend my money in that joke, because y'all done fired me up one good time. Well, y'all, for whatever reason, I pulled in this gas. And this is the good Lord working. That's the reason. But anyhow, I pull into my protested gas station. All I'm going to do is get gas. I ain't getting nothing else from you clowns. Well, I start pumping the gas, and I'm just kind of looking around, people watching. And off to one of the other pumps, there was a pretty nice Chevrolet pickup truck. The fella had him a trailer on the back and had him some yard equipment on that thing. I was just thinking to myself, oh, it's hot to be doing any kind of yard work. Here's the humbling moment. I go to hang the deal up on the gas pump. I turn around and look, and out of the corner of my eye, I see a feller walking by, but he's kind of got like a hesitant in his step a little bit, so it drew my attention a little more. I looked over at the man, and the gentleman had a prosthetic leg. And I thought to myself, well, that poor old boy having to run around on that prosthetic leg. Well, he went to get into his truck, and I read the back of his shirt. And all I could get off the back of it, it was something to do with the Marine Corps. And before he jumped in that truck, I hollered at him. I said, hey, so you a veteran? He turned around and looked at me. He said, yeah, I am. He's probably about my age, early 40s, maybe late 30s. I walk over there, and me and Hannah, we do this quite often to our veterans from World War II, the gentleman that's left from World War II, all the way up to current date. If you're a vet, we're going to come shake your hand and tell you thank you.
Very hard.
Well, when he told me he was a vet, went moseying over there to him. And the only words exchanged, stuck my hand out, and he stuck his hand out. He said, my name is Josh. I told him, I said, brother, we do appreciate you. God bless you in every way. My name's Tim. And that was it. I turned around and walked away. I didn't speak about this till later on. We had got home, and Mr. Donnie come by, a good friend of ours, and we sit around and fellowship quite a bit. I was telling Mr. Donnie, I said, Mr. Donnie, I just had something come over me running into that veteran. Boy, we got some things backwards.
Big time.
That man was drenched, y'all, from head to toe in sweat, running around on a prosthetic leg, proud, standing proud still.
He wasn't even grumpy though.
No.
It's 110 degrees outside. He's fine.
But I thought to myself, this man is a combat vet. This man's been wounded in action to defend mine and her freedom as well as y'all's. And he's having to get out for extra cash to take and cut yard. There's something wrong, people. That's just my opinion.
He wasn't such, and I don't say proud as in like an egotistical kind of way, but it would have been really, really heartbreaking to me if he hadn't held himself so proudly. He was still out making a living for himself. When I know people that it's like, oh, my foot hurts, I'm not going to work today.
Just an excuse for some. But I was thinking to myself, man, none of our vets, men or women, never one of them should have to be worrying about having some extra money to take and pay for the house note, a ride, food on their table, things of that nature. Now, I'm not getting on a political trip on no end.
Ed's comment? He got it. That's what you call a divine appointment.
Absolutely, Ed. Yes, sir. That's why I was saying the good Lord is the one that said.
Because literally, he has not darkened the driveway of that particular gas station in several years now. I couldn't believe he was even pulling in there.
But just me and mine, it was overwhelming in a sense, and I'm getting chills talking to y'all about it right now. Y'all, them people shouldn't have to want for nothing. If there's anybody in this country that should not have to want, it is our men and women in the military. With all that being said, thank you, everybody. If you're active, if you're a veteran, anything from National Guard all the way up to them SEAL team dudes and our Army Rangers and all along those.
I mean,
Thank y'all.
everybody that serves, I mean, right down to the cooks in the kitchen,
Yes.
you're still giving your time and your life to, even if you're not on the front lines, like I said, right down to the cook. People don't think about all the little, what do they call them, menial jobs that have to go on for the big picture to come together and work, kind of thing. I feel like people in the background get left out a lot, but if there wasn't nobody in that kitchen, who would feed the troops on the front line? So when we
No.
say thank you, we're not just talking to frontline vets.
No.
We mean thank you to everybody.
Everybody. It's all equal playing ground. You men and women work together in a unit to keep us safe and allow us to continue our freedoms and liberties in a republic that we have. I mean, thank you. Anyway, I'm gonna get off that. I'm not gonna get on nothing else, but we just want to say thank you from everybody. And anyhow, I didn't do a. We have been full throttle this week. We ain't even been in our bees, and we've actually, besides the heat, have had some sunshine and fairly nice weather for the most part. But we ain't been in the bees due to life, pretty much. But gives a reason I ain't had time to really get around and kind of tinker with my little news commentary.
We still hadn't done the outro to that video we were talking about last week.
No, we sure hadn't. Have we? I'm sorry, y'all. We got a video holding still.
Yeah, we do.
But from what we have seen now, it looks like most everybody pretty well, y'all either getting ready to or have pulled your honey. And for us folks down here in the South, it appears that most of us is kind of way behind on any type of honey harvest this year. Like say on us, we got the one box out there, but I don't even know if it's really worth going and dragging everything our hand crank spinner and all that out to just really spend one box of honey. We'd probably just take and leave it on there and let them deal with it. If we get any type of fall flow, and we are seeing goldenrod right down the road. One of the widow women at church, she's got 40 acres up there, and she's got what big you figure her the old mule field is 4 or 5 acres, maybe.
About that.
But it's full of goldenrod. That goldenrod is probably, I'm gonna say, over 6 feet tall out there right now. Lord willing, storms hold out. We don't get none of them hurricanes.
We might actually have a fall flood.
Yeah. Lord willing.
Yeah, I'm not up for hurricanes.
No, Lord, no. And which our peak season down here for hurricanes don't really peak until September, I think it is. That's whenever we get. Here we go. Now what we have seen out in the yard, seems like we got a little bit of change in floral, I reckon. Last few months, been noticing that it's just pretty well been quite a bit of, I say majority of it's been like a yellow pollen coming in. The last few days went down there nosing around and seen that they bringing in a it's real pretty bright orange is the best way to explain it. They got them little legs packed out.
His are full of cotton right now. Dan Weaver said he He needs another 10 cases of pint jars to fill with honey.
I heard that,
That's
bro.
awesome.
Yes, sir. Now, I know a lot of you up in the North Country up there. Yeah, y'all seem to be
Really killing it.
doing
this
pretty
year.
good. And Jeremy over there in Texas with that mesquite going on, he pulled what I think almost 600 or 700 pounds. He said last week.
That
Then
was a lot.
they got another little bit of flow. It looked like on one of his shorts the other day. That mesquite blooming again. That's actually kind of pretty. It reminded me of like a tallow tassel, which I ain't never seen a mesquite plant before. But that kind of reminded me what the floral of it looked like. Dan says it's been a good season there in PA. So I guess nature, weather, something. It just said we're gonna pause down here this year, and I reckon work a little bit better up there in the North Country. But now I did get out there and tinker, put that little old short out this morning. Got bored. What it was.
Imagine that.
I said, you know what? We got one banana left up here. We've already done the salt in the corn cob, and we know they take to that. They pull on that salt out of that old dry corn cob.
Oops.
I wish he quit licking it. But yeah. But I forgot where I was going with it. Banana.
Mm-hmm.
Me being bored. Anyway, went out there. It got me. I don't know a little pinch about. Anyway, that big. Y'all get to do it. I was like, I'm gonna see if they take to it. I can't remember who it was. Somebody had mentioned it, I think, in one of the other chats. And showing up, y'all. I dropped that little piece down there. Like I say, it wasn't probably big as a dime. It wasn't just a second. Here they come. And once they figured out it had some sweetness to it, I guess, buddy, they come on top of it. So I was like, well, let's see if everybody else do the same. I went and stuck a piece in what colonies we got left, and showing up, but everybody else, it didn't take them but just a second. Now one of them, the little split we done with the double queens in one colony, y'all probably hear them blasted chickens in the background. Well, I sat the one piece down on that colony, and the bees had just enough time to come over there and pull on it for me to get it on that short. I turn around and go make me a trip back through, come to the house, and chickens done pulled that doggone banana off there, and they eat it up. But that's really about the biggest of what's going on down here in northern Mobile County in South Alabama. What else we got in here?
Staff and Mite, Shane,
See, time is honey.
Old McNally's. I don't know what Ed was talking about with that.
Hey, Jane, appreciate you coming in too, Jane.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen him in ours before.
But we do have an actual subject this evening, and I prepared a few days ahead of time, not 25 minutes prior to.
A few days?
Or yesterday.
Yeah.
Today and yesterday. It's a few days.
That's a couple, not a few. A few is 3 or more.
I got myself together.
Mm.
Now we're gonna transition next week, and the website that we went to and looked at all this, we'll give it to you, and anybody else that wants to go check it out. We just kind of stumbled upon it on accident, and it's actually had some really good information and basics for, especially if you're just a beginner beekeeper, first year or two trying to get through things. And as for us, actually going down and reading and doing a little bit of studying, educating myself along the way. But before we get into that, many of y'all know we do our little prayer request and list that we want to mention before we get started full throttle into our little chat this evening.
Yeah. Yeah, so if
Now,
anybody has somebody, drop them in the chat.
yes, please, and we'll go back later on and do or email us, or either way.
Ed was saying Thomas Honey is the one that was talking about it.
Is that okay? All right, gotcha.
Sorry.
But on our list from last week, Lee's been in a bind with his back.
I asked him, he said he was about 75% back.
Awesome.
He said he's back at work and getting better, but it's slow.
Good deal. Then we have, let's see, Mr. Mark Miller dealing with the issues he's dealing with.
He was in here earlier. Couldn't see him in a minute.
And this is the best one. Yeah, this is the best one of it.
His goodness.
We got some healing going on with these prayers, y'all.
Big
Call me
time.
crazy, call me whatever you want to, but it works. Our brother Keith, Larimore Farms, 99% of us in here know who the man is.
And what he's been fighting with.
Yes. Yeah. If anybody's new to here, Keith has been having some vision trouble. He's had 2 or 3 surgeries, I think, on his eye.
Several.
And the doctors was, kind of telling him that there's a chance you may not get your sight back in this eye. And anyway, he's been battling it for a good while. But here's the great part, people. Got a text from him the other day. He called and asked us texted us a couple of questions he had. We just chit-chatted back and forth for a minute and asked him how he's doing. The man said he is getting vision back in that eye, y'all.
Y'all, I about jumped out of my chair sitting here.
That's great.
Through me.
That is truly, truly great. Y'all continue to pray for these folks.
I'm sorry, I cannot remember. What was your wife's first name? He just asked to keep his wife in prayers, but I can't remember.
I sure will. I'll just put
There's DC. We've been waiting on him.
I'll just jot it down.
His wife's still on the heart monitor.
But she's back home, Ed? I know you said
she was last time we talked to him. But he just put, she's still having some issues. And still on the heart monitor.
For any of you other prayer warriors, put that down on y'all's list too. Pray for these people. We can sure use it too.
That was it. I'm sorry, Ed. I should have remembered that. KRIX.
Now, sorry,
Drowning again.
Drowning again. Yep. Yeah, y'all continue to prayers for everybody.
Dan Weaver said prayers for Lee Larimore and James for healing. I'm not sure which James you're talking about, Dan, but we'll definitely put him on the list. It's right here.
Yeah, I'm seeing.
He just put Lee Larimore and James.
James.
But Lee and Larimore aren't.
Well, the good Lord knows who James is. Yeah. It'll get to him. Wish I could remember the Bible verse. You may be able to remember what it is, but where it talks about our prayers come up to the Lord, and it's like incense.
James McNally.
James McNally. That's right. Yeah, he was having I think it's diverticulitis he was having trouble with. Gotcha, Bubba. On the list. We pray you get better too, everybody. But I kind of had to cheat the system on this one a little bit. Now, with the pictures, because we still have to get sunshine pumped in, and whatever kind of high speed jive you got to have to run a internet around here, it's still 5 miles down the road, literally, for real.
They stopped.
Yeah, they stopped. So I had to we do this off the cell phone. And we're back and forth with Johnny. How can I do this? God love him. The man has been very patient with me. And if you're watching, thank you.
It's like dealing with 3-year-olds figuring out technology.
Yeah. Grab your Bible. Psalms 147 days.
Yeah.
And so what? Instead of being able to share up, what they call that, share a file or picture, I had to use it for our little background. So we're still gonna be here, but in order for me to get all this through to you and show you the picture of what I'm talking about, we have to just show you the background, what it is. But we're gonna take a little trip back in time, back to where was that? I think I'll let her get done jotting everybody's name down for that prayer list.
Go back in time to what?
Let's see my little book here. Yeah, let's see. 1927. Let me do this here. Maybe y'all see. Did it work?
Yeah. Look at your screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm assuming y'all can still hear me. It says the microphone's still going. But the little pamphlet to your left is an old ad, and I'm assuming from 1927. But I know it's hard to read, so I wrote everything down, and I'm gonna read it off to y'all. And the picture on the right of the gentleman at the train, I'm hoping y'all can see it, but on that cart, he's got a big box, and what that is, that's a package of honeybees in that box there. And the old railroad, like I said, here we go back to, this is up in Central Nell, right by Hannah's grandma's house. And if you go the opposite direction from where we was talking about the surrender, this place was probably about the same distance. But at one time, it was the largest apiary in its day. It shipped all over the United States and into Canada. So these folks was doing some beekeeping. But real quick, I'm gonna read you what it says on the little pamphlet. But y'all check out these prices on how much packages were, how much queens were, so on and so forth. But I'm going to start from the top and read it all, names and everything, all the way down, so y'all can see. But beginning with it, at the top, there's two names, John H. Hurt, S.E. Merle, Central Apiaries, Central, Alabama. Then it's got queens in quotations. It says, we have been rearing queens for 15 years, and during that period have reared more than, y'all check this out, 150,000 queens. All breeding stock, carefully selected. 150,000 queens in 15 years. Package bees. We supply several thousand pounds of bees each season. Go down to queens in quotations again. Untested queens. Y'all check this out. $1 each. You can get 12 for 10 or 100 queens for $75. That's for untested. Select untested was $1.20 each or 12 for $17. No, yeah, 12 for $17. Good breeders started at $5 all the way up to $25. But you're talking about $5 for a queen back in 1927. Woo! That's like some of these high dollar queens nowadays. And it also says our queen's output will be 400 queens per day. These people are harvesting 400 queens a day, or they were. And it said they'll be available April 1st, 1927. All orders given are promptly attention. Package bees, untested, with a queen furnished. You can get a 2-pound package that's with the queen for $4 each. If you buy 25 or more, it was $3.80 each. For a 3-pound package, they were $5 each. 25 or more, they were $4.80 each. It says prices on shipments by mail on request, prompt service, and satisfaction guarantee. Citronelle Apiary, Citronelle, Alabama. And if you look to your picture there, your photo up underneath it, that's Mr. Hartel, a local beekeeper there in Citronelle, Alabama. It says this picture was taken around 1903. Thought some of y'all might like that, enjoy that. Too bad them prices ain't like they used to be. $1 for a queen, $3 for a package of bees. But it's all right. We'll get to it. What else I got on my little list here? I think that's it on my little jotting besides what we actually going to kind of chat about. And we'll open up the chat, and whoever wants to come in, y'all come on. But last week, we talked about the hive beetle once again, but we was talking more or less on treatments and everything. We know there's chemical treatments. Earl has told us about the peppermints and how they work. But this time we're going to get into actually what is the hive beetle.
I'm glad DC's here for this, because
What
this
is
is going to answer what you were talking about, I think, in our last live chat, DC, where you were trying to figure out the difference between the wax moth larva and the beetle larva.
Yeah. What I'm reading from, and like I said, let me see if I can get it up here and show y'all.
Did you see DC's comment?
No, I didn't.
He said, "I'll give you a queen for $1, but you got to come get her."
Yeah. Anybody, y'all can go look this up. I mean, it's on the Google for everybody else to read, but the web page, it says in the bar there, beehealthextension.org. But with the spelling, it's got BEE dash healthextension.org. So anybody wants to check it out. All I did was Google what is a hive beetle, and it was the first thing that popped up. But in this website, y'all, man, they got everything from varroa mite to tracheal mites to foul brood, Africanized bees, honey biology, and that's just in the bee health. The beekeeping, it's got first lessons in beekeeping, basic techniques, advanced field and lab techniques, field beekeeping equipment. I mean, it just goes on and on. But it's a lot to read, so y'all bear with me. It shouldn't take but just a few minutes, but you want to read it? You probably read it quicker and better than I can. I don't know. Here you go. Yeah, but you got to speak loud.
Because that's my strongest thing.
All of it. Well, that's what I was going to do. Now, the people that done this, how do you say his last name? John Zal.
Is that a serious question? The Whistler? He ain't from here.
I don't know, but he's
He's
a teacher at the University of Arkansas, Division of Agriculture. Then also there's a PDF from some gal in Mississippi. What's her name? Audrey Sheridan. And
Mary Fulton.
So there's a little PDF you can download as well if you're interested on some of it. But I'm going to shut up and let her read. But there's some places I'm a stopper because there was things I had no idea. You knew the hive beetle went in there and they destroyed everything. That was it,
He just knew
basically.
we didn't like
No, I don't like it. Go ahead.
it. So obviously, it's a pest invasive to honeybees. So it's unknown how it found its way to the U.S., but it was first discovered to be damaging honeybee colonies in Florida in the late 1990s. I honestly thought they'd been around a whole lot longer than that. But since the 90s, they've spread to 30 states, particularly prevalent in the southeast. So they've likely been transported with package bees and by migratory bees, but the adult beetles are strong flyers and are capable of traveling several miles at a time on their own. In the U.S., these beetles are considered to be a secondary or opportunistic pest, only causing excessive damage after bee colonies have already become stressed or weakened by other factors. Infestations of beetles can put significant stress on bee colonies, which can be compounded by the stress of varroa mites and other conditions. If large populations of beetles are allowed to build up, even strong colonies can be very overwhelmed in a very short period of time. So honeybee colonies appear able to contend with fairly large populations of beetles with little effect, or adult beetles. However, hive beetle populations are able to lay enormous numbers of eggs, which is our problem.
Yes.
Big time. The eggs develop quickly and result in rapid destruction of unprotected combs in a short time. There's no established threshold number for small hive beetles, as their ability to devastate a bee colony is related to many factors of colony strength and overall health. But here we go. This is about the larvae. So the adults and reddish brown. No, not down here.
The adults are about a quarter of an inch long and typically around a brown, tannish looking color. The ones we have are,
They're black.
yeah, jet black.
Like, really black. This says they can be tan to reddish brown, dark brown, or black. See, but their size and appearance can be highly variable within a population. The adults are usually observed in the hive with their heads tucked down, so that the antennae and legs are often not apparent. The larvae are elongated, cream color to slightly golden grubs, growing to about a half-inch long. So they may be mistaken for the young larvae of the greater wax moth, and I ain't fixing to try to say all them Latin names, but here, DC, this is what I was hoping you'd be in here to hear. The two types of larvae can be differentiated by their appearance. The beetle larvae have 3 pairs of well-developed legs near the anterior end, while wax moth larvae have 3 pairs of legs near the anterior and 4 pairs of less developed prolegs toward the posterior. Hive beetle larvae also have numerous dorsal spines, which wax moth larvae are lacking. Both pests can be found simultaneously in the same hive.
I'm going to show y'all a picture, give y'all a visual. They got it up close here. I think I can get it good enough for y'all to see. We all pretty well know what they look like. But I didn't know them old larvae had legs on them. I figured they just scooted around on their bellies and just kind of scooted around like a doggone snake or something. What I figured they done, but apparently they got little legs as a larva.
Somebody said turn the volume. Maybe I
Turn
should.
it volume.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can turn the mic up on this thing. Pick her up a little better.
Maybe you should finish it.
You want me to do it?
I mean, I think everybody pretty much knows the rest of that with beetles. So.
Well, there's one deal in here. Tell you how slick these little critters are. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Blew my mind. Whew, I had no idea that they done this mess. Y'all bear with me. But all right, it's just gonna take me too long to find it, I reckon. But basically, what he was saying that beetle will take its antennae and how the bees communicate with theirs. They have figured out how to weasel their way around and do this old antennae touch and not be suspected of being a trespasser. You got it? Almost.
Almost. I thought I had it.
It's got me right there. But anyway, them jokers are slick. They in there. Hey now, I'm fixing to destroy your colony. But the website, there's all kind of different things. Let me talk about that one real quick. The soil treatment. I'll read all that. And this too was. I know we've all discussed how to.
Yeah, Russell Amon knew what you were talking about. He said they get the bees to feed them.
Yeah, that's it. Yes, sir.
That's exactly where he was going.
I had no idea. I figured they just went in there and munched down, had them a good time, had all the babies they could have, then whatever, they just move on to the next one pretty much around here. But yes, I seen somebody saying something about the sandy soil, and yes, that is a big contributor for
humid,
us around
hot,
here.
and sandy soil.
I mean,
we have all three.
It is, yes. So it's a playground for them jokers around here. Let me get back to the where did we just do? Oh, this right here. We get treatment, soil treatment. All right. The pupal stage is a vulnerable time in the beetle life cycle. Slightly moist, loose, sandy soil is optimal for their development. Bingo. They found the proper place around here. I imagine others as well. Locating colonies on hard clay or rocky soil rather than light sandy soil can reduce the number of hive beetle larvae that successfully pupate. If numerous larvae are discovered in the hive, the soil around the colony can be treated with a permethrin drench to prevent the larvae from pupating, killing them in the soil. Let me say this in here. If y'all want to go back and read this too, you'll see in big bold letters. Use with caution, as permethrin is highly toxic to bees! Exclamation point.
Which is why we do it at night.
That's it. It said prepare the site by removing freshwater sources and feeding stations, mow vegetation around the hives to be treated to allow the solution to directly contact the soil. It tells you how much to mix up in there. Avoid contaminating the beehive surface with pesticide drift. Do not use a sprayer. Apply the solution using a sprinkler can. Thoroughly drench the area in front of the hive and beneath it if screen bottom boards are used. Wetting an area 18 to 20 inches around the hive. Ensure that wandering beetle larvae will contact the treated soil. So permethrin is corrosive, can be irreversible eye damage. Avoid contact with eyes. Wear your protection. All that good stuff. And undoubtedly, there is a chemical treatment I've never heard of it. Some of you may have, but it says use 1 strip of Check Mite Plus per hive. Never heard of it. Don't know if it works. Some of y'all may have heard of it, used it, and hopefully it worked for you to get rid of them plastic things. But next week, I'll start 3 or 4 days prior to my 3 or 4 days, and we'll get in that wax moss on the next one.
I asked her where she was, because the Sharon lady, was saying that the connector didn't work.
Oh, it didn't work for her?
She's in Savannah.
Now, it does say in there too, which I didn't read that part, but it talked about them, what was it, the nematodes? I think I'm saying that right. And it talked to, there's the certain kind, it's got a name about that long. And it talked about putting those nematodes in the ground as well to help combat the larvae in the ground, as long as it wouldn't, as long as the ground, the way it sounded, if you kept it pretty moist, if they got into a drought or something along those lines, then I reckon they kind of start dying off. But as long as they had a fairly decent bit of moisture in the ground, whether you went out there with a water hose every 3 days and kind of just wet the ground a little bit or whatever. But
okay, there's several people are talking about that grub that Chris uses.
Okay, everybody seems to be chirping about that quite a bit, so I reckon that's got to be some good stuff. Yeah, when she lets me spend a little bit of money, we'll buy some.
I'm not even going there tonight.
She don't give me no fuss about nothing. So let me go in here. That's what I'm going to stop talking, and we're going to invite whoever wants to come in, and y'all tell us about it. Let's fill this baby up this evening. Okay. Got that. I'm working on it. Y'all bear with me.
He's trying.
Oh, yeah. Bingo. All right. You do your thing. Okay, she's got it in. Awesome. But hey, y'all ring the doorbell and come on in. Let's chit chat a little bit. Y'all tell us about your bees.
We actually had a funny story to tell them, but I can't remember what it
On our end?
was. It was something about you. You did something, and then you were like, "Hey, now you got a story to tell them." But I don't remember what it was. I really don't. It was hilarious at the time, but
we sure did. Yesterday or something. You can tell them about what your sister said. Y'all cinch your seatbelt for this one, people.
Well, I mean, in her defense, we were trying to get through a birthday party, and she had a couple of adult beverages, but I was having to leave early. It must have been last week because I was trying to get back here in time for the live show or whatever. But
Uncle Tim didn't go.
Yeah, he skipped the kid's birthday party. But either way, we're sitting there, just talking. All the kids are on the water slide and crap. And she asked me why I was leaving so early. And I told her, we got the little live show tonight or whatever. And she just started laughing. She was like, "So, do you and your beekeeping friends on YouTube call yourselves a colony? Because I feel like you should." I was like, "Abby, I feel like you should quit drinking." It's like, now. No, we don't call ourselves a colony.
I about fell out. She came over and told me that. I was like,
I
Abby,
about
come
fell
on,
out
girl.
sitting there. Because she was, I mean, she was feeling pretty decent after what she had had. But she cracked her own self up. I think I probably laughed harder at her laughing at herself more than what she said. Yeah, Dan, that's exactly what I told her. Like, you just need to stop now.
Yeah. Well, goodness, Jasper. But, see, Blaine, hey there, brother. See, you done come in here too. Ziggy.
Lee changed his mind.
Did
he? Had put SEBC in there.
Mr. Larry?
Because I don't drink. And that's funny. Yeah. You should, y'all. It was so much funnier hearing her idiotic self say that.
What are you doing, DC? You got 8 brood frames. Mark gonna build you 2 deeps. Get you some. Buddy, you just building up out there like crazy, ain't you?
Yeah, big time.
Now we did check out your Lord's Day video where you went out showing us the garden and everything a few minutes ago, and I wish somehow, man, you need some Mississippi sweet potatoes up there in that garden. And I don't know if they'll ever grow up there.
Sweet potatoes in Washington.
In Washington. Yeah. I don't know if they'll just come up or knock it out. But, there we go.
Oh my gosh. Another female is gonna come on here.
What? Come on, ladies.
I thought I'd put a little estrogen into the bunch.
Do what?
I said I thought I'd add some estrogen to the bunch.
I so appreciate it. I was telling him, like, if no woman comes in tonight, I'm gonna challenge everybody because I'm sick of being the only female on these beekeeper channels.
I started not to come on because I look like a hot mess, but I figured I got a little bit of battery left on my phone, so I thought I'd come on and say hi. And
ain't nobody judging what you look
y'all.
like hiding in the back room. I'm really
That's the
glad
way
you came.
That's the way I look when I come out of the bee yard. Of course, I'm dry now. I was soaking wet.
Yeah.
So I had a kind of bad day in the bee yard today.
I saw that. Was it
I don't
just
know.
smalls?
We had one dead out, and I think we only had one colony. You know, I've got 8 colonies, and we only had one colony that had a low mite count. It had 1 mite out of a half a cup. The rest of them were anywhere from 10 to 32.
Wow.
So I think it was just a really, really high mite load, and it probably absconded and waxed moths. I knew when I pulled off the top and saw those big carpenter ants in there, I was like, oh man, this is not good. It was. They hadn't done a lot of damage. They hadn't started burrowing yet, so I'm bagging them up in the morning. Didra and I both got a little heat exhaustion, so we decided to do it. I would do that in the morning, and then she's going to come by tomorrow afternoon on her way home from work and put those frames in her freezer. I'm using her freezer because mine's packed.
Yeah.
But I'm going to probably hit him with a little. I talked to Bruce today and asked him, he said, what's your plan? It's like he's acting like he's my mentor. I guess in a way he is. But I told him, I said, well, the only thing I've got available to me here is OA. So, and I haven't even used that vaporizer. It's still in the box. I pulled it out and looked at it. So I'm going to get out and hit him with some OA tomorrow. And my Apivar should be in by Tuesday. And we're planning on early Friday morning adding Apivar. And hopefully we can look at you. I know. I had ordered some Formic Pro, but it's just too dang hot down here for Formic Pro right now. I should have just hit them with that Formic Pro when it was cooler and just got a head start on them. You live, you learn.
It's always a challenge.
Yeah.
You know, this time last
Um,
year, you might have been low mites.
I was.
And what if
I was low mic.
before I can hit
I
them?
had I had one colony this time last year that was high. I thought it was high. There was like 8 or 9 out of a half a cup. But honestly, when I went into that backyard hive that was the swarm that moved in, and she counted those off, I sunk. I absolutely sunk. She said, Lisa, there's 28 mites in here. And I don't think I even had a full half cup of bees. So it was possibly even higher. So,
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Well, maybe
anywho,
the treatment
but
get that.
I got into one colony that actually looked pretty strong. It had a high mite count, but it was actually pretty strong. So I think if I hit some of them tomorrow with some OA, at least get some of the phoretic mites off of them. But that one colony had 2 queens in it,
They're
and
probably feeding her, waiting
one
on one to be able to fly out.
I guess so. I don't know.
I had
One of them was marked. The one that was marked was in there. It was an older queen. It was a yellow queen. So I'm thinking that the virgin is just getting ready for her to
take
go
over.
away. Mm-hmm.
But you're going to see,
So.
you'll know when it happens. You'll see a little coronation. It'll be broadcast on all the TV networks. Little crown up there coming down with the scepter. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so we're gonna try to save at least what I've got. I don't know that we're not strong enough to make any splits, so we won't be making any splits. I don't think, except maybe the one hive that had one count. It's booming. I mean, it's so ironic how you can have all, and this hive was in the middle of all of them. It's just amazing that one hive had one mite and
Yeah.
Well,
just exploding. And then the rest of them, I had the abscond with the wax moths right next to it, and then all the ones around them had high mite counts. It's just amazing to me.
Do you
the
have the drones
You
to
know, I
support
didn't
queens?
see. I I don't think so. I didn't see a lot of drones, not like in the spring. Now, of course, they may have. Of course, Deirdre said, I noticed in the video because I've been editing the video. She says in there, she said, "Well, I found all the drones. They were on the front of the hive, but I still don't think there was enough drones to support it. There was no drone brood whatsoever. So I just
That's
don't
what
think
we
I've got a.
found here.
I just don't think we've got enough population of drones to really do anything. So if I don't think we've got time to make queens at
well,
this point.
it's very interesting you talking about that because I just was looking at ordering some queens from Jose, but you know
Hmm.
he's on the left coast and I'm on the right coast.
Yeah,
It's $100 to get them shipped out here.
yeah.
So
Well, I know this little bee place in Marietta that I go to. He posts every so often when he gets mated queens. I may just go down there. I'm off Friday, so I may ride down there and maybe get a couple of queens. I'm supposed to be getting Hadassah from Greg, if I can ever get her. But I've got to get in touch with him and tell him when to ship because I don't want her sitting in the mailbox.
Mhm.
So, and it's so blasted hot right now. It's just been a crazy year. God, it's crazy.
we got
There's
rain.
a, there's a friend of ours that's on the fire department still, and it's kind of a sad situation. But the there is a beekeeper where we really got interested in actually getting our bees and starting to keep some bees. There was a colony at our church at one of the,
Hmm.
I guess, one of the preacher houses visiting preachers can come stay in.
Hmm.
And that got us amped up. We'll come to figure out there was a beekeeper probably, I don't know, a quarter of a mile down the road.
It's
And
that far.
the last few years we passed by, we we seen him out there in his suit, and we'll see him. Now he didn't have a crank extractor. This man had electric extractor by him.
Bet he did.
But unfortunately, our friend on the fire department was telling us that the gentleman had passed away. And whenever they went to his house to take care of everything on the fire department, Odell said, "Man, there was a package sitting on that man's doorstep that said queen bees, big package." I'm thinking to myself, man, that feller done ordered him a bunch of queens, getting ready for the
Oh
season.
my goodness.
Ended up
Did it pass away?
departing, and them old queens just sat out there on the porch for 2 or 3 days before somebody ended up realizing he had passed. But I was like, well, sad situation all around. Poor old fella didn't make it, and however much he spent on queens, sat there on the porch and no use anymore.
Sorry, my dog.
They have water in them. Attendants.
Trying to find my charger.
I was just looking to order from Jose, and I was thinking about ordering 15 queens, and then to requeen like the hot hives and some that I have that wasn't doing too good. And by the time you pay for shipping, and he only ships out on Mondays now, so that means he would ship it tomorrow, they'd be here Tuesday, and I would have to have all my splits and everything ready, which that's what happened this week because it's supposed to rain tomorrow. So I don't know. We'll see. Might just let it be what it is.
I think it's supposed to rain all week.
Yeah, for the next 2 weeks, it's supposed to fire back up again most every day. But it's just our typical weather pattern for the most part. Now, Chris, I
Yes,
got
sir.
a question, my friend. I seen where you and Bob had got together and done that cutout now.
Everything BVAC is a Colorado BVAC. I quoted wrong in the video or in the video. Or
So it was everything back.
No, the Colorado.
No, it was the Colorado.
I was like,
Yeah, I was like,
Chris.
Chris doesn't have the everything be back. He has Lee has the everything be
oh,
back.
my bad, bro. My bad.
So the Colorado BVAC is basically a vacuum table. If you flipped it upside down, that's what you call a vacuum table in a wood shop, right? That would hold stuff in place. Same thing, but it's a Langstroth box with a divider in it, and the bottom a slide-in piece, and then it's got a screen cover, like a trim ring screen cover on top, and then you put that vacuum board on top of that, and when you suck them in, they go into a Langstroth box. And then we brought it home.
Bad,
we brought it home and put it on top of a box. He's like, bang it down and I'll slide the thing back in, right? He opened it up. I lifted it up and banged it down, and he went to push it in. Well, it didn't work as well as it planned. The next thing, 3 of us are running and bees flying around us. But they're doing all right today. So far.
Yeah. It's the slowest one that got stung though. That wasn't me.
I came around quick, and Chris was right behind me, and then Rick was behind you, and Rick got it 3 times, I think.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think I've got a target on my inner thigh that must smell like honey or something, because they tag me every time I get tagged. I get stung right there on my left inner thigh.
me too. They go for my legs all the time.
They like the back of your head there, Bob.
That's about most every live man walks out there and
He gets
one's gonna
popped in
get
the
him.
head.
Yes, sir.
That's a good video.
Was they a pretty
No, we had
gentle
a
stop?
good time out there.
Yeah, I mean, we had a good time out there. I put that picture. You see who was on the ladder, right? Old man was on the porch. He's older than me. He was on the ladder. He climbed the
Did some
ladder.
did some metal detecting out there.
That's what I
Oh,
was gonna
that's
ask you. You
right. Y'all
found
were gonna do
gold
some
digger?
metal detecting. Did y'all find anything good?
Oh,
Nails.
lots of nails.
Nails.
We found a shell casing and some garbage.
Yeah, a lot of garbage.
Mhm.
But we didn't have that. We didn't do it that long, right? We weren't out there that long doing
Nah,
that.
half hour at the most.
But
Oh man, you need all day a place like that.
Yeah, well, it took us 3 hours to get the bees out.
Y'all was over it by then, huh?
Yeah, I would
but
have been too. It's
there
time to
really
go
wasn't
to
that many bees. There wasn't that much comb in there. Wasn't that many bees. What really wasn't no honey. There
Nope.
was pollen and brood and not much stores.
It almost looked like they swarmed like the day before.
So never saw the queen. So she could have got
Yeah.
vacuumed up.
That's what I was
That's
thinking.
easy to do.
How big was the colony in there? Just
I don't know,
volleyball size?
probably like a package, possibly 3 pounds, including the
Yeah.
foragers that were coming back and everything.
Well, how many is that now? 60.
No, it's like 10,000 bees or something like that. I mean, they only had a handful of comb in there. So, but they had started. We found old comb on the opposite end. That was evidently it was years old. There used to be a colony that lived in there, and then they started building on the other end of the porch. So we found the new stuff. And we're like, well, there's some more down on the other side, and cut the other half out and pulled all the old comb out of there.
Yeah, because they had 3 entrances that they were using.
Yep, both sides and one right in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Was y'all able to plug everything up, or they'll be back?
That's him. That's his job.
That's him.
Their job to repair everything. So
I did use some of the old comb and I plugged up the hole.
wax filled one of them.
Yeah.
Charlie, you're quiet over there.
You guys are doing all the talking.
I'm sitting here waiting. I'm like, man, are they going to drop a link? Are they going to drop a link? I figured I was waiting and waiting. I didn't see anybody join. And then by the time I said, okay, I'm going to click it. And I clicked it. And by the time I got in, Lisa was already in here. I was like, man, she
Yeah.
Yeah. Lisa
the
be
draw.
there.
Yeah.
I got on. You were talking about you had a bunch of mites in your hives there, Lisa.
Yeah.
And it's what, about 100 degrees down there where you're at?
It was up in the 90s today. We've had rainstorms. You know, that's the way it is down here. You get these pop-up showers and these pop-up thunderstorms, and we had a break in the thunderstorms. But yeah, it's been just beastly hot, like mid to upper 90s. Heat index is close to 100. I don't think we've gone over 100 yet, but it's just the humidity has been anywhere from 75 to 98% in 90-something degree weather. So yeah.
You say you had what do you got, one of them Laura B vaporizers, or?
Yeah, it's the one with the cord. I didn't get the instant vape or instant
Okay.
vap. So I've got one of those. I haven't used it yet, so I'm not familiar with it. I mean, it looks self-explanatory, and I've watched Rob use it on
right.
a YouTube video.
You
So
know, if you want to knock mites down quick, I would use the vapor.
okay.
And you know, you can either stick it in the front door with that, or you can stick it I always drill a hole in the back end and in the bottom board. And then you can either take a wet cloth and stick it in the front to block off the front entrance, or I actually found some styrofoam insulation, about 1.5 inch square strip, cut it to where it'll squeeze in there to keep it in there tight, because the bees will push it out.
Yeah.
And you're using screen bottom?
Some of them are, I think all of those out there are screen bottom, yeah, except for maybe one hive has got a bottom board.
Have you got some way of blocking that off?
Yeah, I've got some political signs I cut up and slide in there.
Yeah, that's what I do. Anyway, close it all up, and if you got the hole in the rear end, put that thing in there, and let's see, you've got the blue caps. That
Yes.
just fill the blue caps up,
Hmm.
fill them up, get it up to heat. Like how you have the cap up on top of the hive, and then turn the machine upside down. And I would wear my leather gloves because that sucker's hot.
Hmm.
Push down on it and stick it in the hole in the back, and then flip it back up. Maybe take your hand and tap that blue cap to drop that oxalic acid down into the hot box,
Okay.
and hit them with that. And I hit them about, I don't know, I would probably wait 4 days or so and then hit them again.
Hmm. That's what I figured because I told Bruce, I said the only thing I have on hand is OA, um,
With the
and the
heat
vaporizer.
situation where you're at, that, first it's a quick knockdown. They can handle it in the
Right.
humidity and the heat. And Aprivar is more of it's not a quick knockdown.
Right.
It's a sustainability type of thing.
Mhm.
And like you say, ApriGuard and Formic Pro is just too
Yeah.
hot for that. And when you do use them, I mean, I don't know how your humidity is when things get cooler. Does the humidity kind of go away?
Mm, not so
Goes
much.
away.
Well, you only got to wait till
Some
Probably.
of
about
it.
for that to
Yeah, you
happen.
only have to wait until January.
Yeah.
Treat them in January.
Oh, I am. I'm planning on
I
hitting
mean,
them
my
and
my treatment program, of course, it's it was in the 80s or something like that today, but it's been hot and humid for the last week or so. But
Mhm.
what I do is I treat July and August, and then I hit them again with Formic. I'll say in September, and
Mhm.
then I will hit them at least twice a month through the winter time with oxalic acid because we have a brood breakup. I'll say we'll have 95% of the brood not being there, not being. It might have a small amount of brood. I'm
Right.
not sure whether or not you actually do they ever stop laying down there.
Um, we may have a couple of weeks where the queen doesn't really lay, but there's almost always cat brood in there.
I mean, are we talking like big patches or little teeny patches?
No, no, small patches.
Okay. Yeah, I
So,
mean, here come February, they're going to have a patch, let's say 2 inches in diameter, 3 inches in diameter, something like that in there, a
mhm,
small patch. But I've learned that oxalic acid works the best when there's the least amount of brood.
mhm.
But I also figured out that Formic Pro, if you ever try that, I like it under 80 degrees slightly and low humidity. They
Right.
don't say nothing
And
about
see, that's I just wonder even in March when I did my mite washes in March before I put my seepers on, I was going to go ahead and check them and see how the mite load was. I had low mites in every hive. So I did not treat. And I'm thinking if I'd have gone ahead and hit him with Formic Pro at that point, I'd have come out ahead.
the thing of it is you're only getting the theoretic mite count.
True.
Formic Pro really goes after what's underneath the cappings.
Mhm.
And there's I don't know, they did a what's it called? The National Honeybee Survey. Anyway, I did that. I was asked to do that. They did. And I told you what I do. And they found a zero point 0.2 mite infestation in there,
Mhm.
which is like less than 1%.
Oh yeah,
And
that's pretty good.
yeah, it's
Really good.
very good. I'm
Mhm.
for me, it was a scientific um, thing that it tells me that what I've been doing does work,
Mhm.
and it's been working for me. And so, I mean, I used to do OA twice a week I mean, come September, I mean, things are shutting down for me. So I would do OA let's see, for 6 weeks until right before the time change goes back and when we fall back in
Mhm.
time, because by 4 o'clock or 4:30 it's getting dark here.
Right.
And I was doing it twice a week, at least once a week for a while, and then I got up to twice a week. And then one year I still lost a tremendous amount of my nukes and hives, and I almost got to the point where I feel like quitting.
Mhm.
And I've learned in the last 2 years. I've started to listen to the science guys, and
Mhm.
they said, do it in the wintertime, and they're right. You, if it it works for me where I'm located, where Hannah is, and you, um, because of you don't really have a winter
Mm-mm.
down there. I mean, you slow
Yeah.
down some, but you don't have a winter
Right.
like I do. Like I will get snow, or like last winter I didn't get any snow, but I'll have them 25-degree nights or
Mhm.
days, and then I'm waiting for a 48-degree day so I can do a winter application of oxalic acid, where
Mhm.
you probably I think you get in what the 70s in the middle of
Mhm.
January.
Oh yeah.
Look, there's been
We had
times.
we had a we had a 4-day freeze at Christmas time, and I was in Florida then, so it didn't freeze, but it got cold down there.
Yeah,
And
Right,
then we had
it
that
did.
late freeze in March.
right,
So,
yeah. See, March I'm starting to gear up and start. Like you say, the end of March I'm putting honey supers on.
mhm.
Which people look at me up here like, you were doing what in March? I says yes, I'm
Mhm.
going, because the single brood you have to start earlier,
Mhm.
and it works better that way. But
Yeah.
anyway, I would hit them without OA, knock them back, and then maybe do Aprivar, or look for an opportunity, a window opportunity, which I don't think you're going to get anytime soon down there. I know Aprigard is a little bit more, from what something new that I'm going to try. I know you can be up
I
in the
have used Apigard, but I used it incorrectly last year, and I think that's what caused a couple of my colonies to abscond because I was using it in too hot a temperature.
How much? What
Um,
what was the temperature
I don't even remember now. It was probably
in the 90s?
in the 90s, yeah.
And then what did
So
you put in? About 30 or
I
25
think I
grams?
did a half. I bought those little trays and I
Oh,
used a half a tray.
all right. So that's about 25 grams.
Mhm.
'Cause I think they're 50-gram trays.
Right. So I used about 25 on each colony.
And then
And
you
there was
still
a
had problems.
mhm. And I had two colonies abscond on me. So I feel like, I tried to figure out what was going on and I was like it had to be the Apigard. Um I got lucky, I guess, the year before because I was just too dumb to know different. And, and didn't lose any through the Apigard. But Apigard works good. It'll get the mites down. Um, I won't use that Hop Guard anymore, though. That stuff's
Top
nasty.
guard is
Ugh,
worthless.
it
Ab-
is.
Absolutely worthless.
That
They
was
even talk
one of the
about that.
biggest waste of money.
Right. They talk about it at a lot of different conferences smaller
Mhm,
conferences in my area there, and they'll flat out and tell you if it's no good. And if you
mhm,
really read the instructions closely, well, actually, they haven't. They need to change them. They were talking about that to where it's got to be like broodless. It's got to be all these particular things about your hive before you really get any quality kill out of it.
mhm.
So it's
It
too
didn't
much.
change my mite load at all.
Nah.
And that's why I went ahead for the Apigard. And it may have been earlier because I want to say it was right after I took off Honey Supers. So it may have been like the end of June
Right.
that I did that. But yeah, I would. It was
Yeah.
right about
Todd.
the same time that Mike Berry used Hop Guard, and I was like, "Oh my God, I just used that stuff. I hate it." And it smells awful. Oh my gosh, the smell of it was just I was like, you would think it would work as bad as it smells,
Yeah.
but it
Well,
didn't.
actually, DC says he doesn't like chemicals. Well, number one, Formic Pro and HopGuard are both um, non-chemicals. They are also what do you call it? I forget what you call the proper term. Organic.
Organic,
They are
right?
organic.
No,
Oxalic acid,
oxalic acid is organic.
organic.
Just
The only
because
one
it,
that
yeah.
quote is chemicals is Aprivar, which is I can't remember what the active ingredient starts with an A. I think.
It
What is
is
it, Bob?
Bob can tell us. He's got a pack
Imipramid.
right in front of him.
Asmatraz.
Asthma,
But,
yeah.
but the fact of the matter is, the absolute fact is, the amatraz and the chemical is actually easier on the bees,
Mm-hmm. Than
especially
the
where
organic stuff.
especially in
Takes
your
longer.
environment right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I mean, you got to do what you got to do to keep your bees alive.
Yeah.
But
Well, I had been.
I would hit it with oxalic acid first, knock them back, and then throw some Apricard in there. If you're done honey,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
you
I'm
know.
done with honey.
Well,
I
the
was
main,
gonna go out and pull some and see if there was any to pull, but there's not because I mean they're already starting.
Apricard. The active ingredient is thymol,
Thymol. Mm-hmm.
which is
and
time oil.
amatraz is a chemical, is a synthetic chemical.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, at this point, like you said, I'm just trying to keep my bees alive. And if it's going to, and I haven't used any inorganic stuff on them yet. But if that's what it takes to keep them alive, I'm going to do what I have to do.
well, I mean, I think that's everybody's goal. You know, some people, even like natural beekeepers,
Mm-hmm.
I don't fault them for not wanting, anybody not wanting to use chemicals. Absolutely. But I don't want to be buying 60 colonies every year either.
Right.
So
Exactly.
it's,
I'd rather spend $100 on a treatment that I know is going to probably knock them down than to have to spend $100 per, you know, well, it's
Yeah, now
more than $100 per colony. It'll be $175, $200 per colony, depending on package or nuke.
these are those plastic strips that you hang in between the brood frames.
Mm-hmm.
Out-
Right.
Make you big, bud.
Yeah.
Do what? You gonna make me big? Oh.
Make you big.
Yeah.
Some people say these kind of work, and some people say they don't work. What I know is in the spring I've used these, and then follow them up with oxalic acid vaporization, and then that seems to keep them pretty low until I can hit them in the fall again.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, if I do OA tomorrow and put the Apivar on Friday, and then 6 to 8 weeks, you leave the Apivar in 6 to 8 weeks, right?
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
It's
So we're looking at mid-September. No,
Yeah,
end of August.
yeah,
End
it's
of
40.
August.
It's 40. It's a 42-day treatment.
Right. So we're looking at the end of August, the Apivar strips coming out.
Mm-hmm. So that does allow, a couple brood cycles that you've got brood hatching out and mites dropping off.
Mm-hmm.
It does. Although it doesn't get them in the cappings, it does get them as they come out of the cappings.
Right. And that's what I was talking about with the OA. If all I hit them with OA right now, I'd have to do treatments at least every 5 to 7 days for the next 4 weeks just to get through the brood that is being laid now. Because you got each cycle, each stage of brood that's going to be hatching.
You remember
So
when they started with that? They were like, just hit them once once a week for 3 weeks in the fall, and then you're good. Remember that?
That's what it used to be.
And now
Yeah.
it's like, I
All
got
right. Well, what you just stated there, Lisa, is what my premise was. Twice a week. Oh, I'll
Right.
get them every 3 to 4 days
Mm-hmm.
for 6 continuous weeks, and I'll get the mites as they're coming out of the uncapping of the uncappings of the brood.
Right.
It doesn't work.
Because how are they going to go back into cappings before they're capped over?
before
You know,
you
you
can,
got
before you can hit them.
your
So
mites are hatching out faster than bees are.
exactly.
So,
So in your situation, I would hit them with oxalate a couple times to knock them down. I'd
mhm.
put the aprivar strips in, and then I might follow up um, with if you got 6 week treatment, maybe every couple weeks hit them, or maybe once a week.
Just hit them with some OA after the apivar comes off.
No, while it's on there,
Oh, while it's on there.
hit them with
Hmm.
a couple doses of that,
Hmm.
and to keep
Double
the
whammy, huh?
yeah,
I've done it, and I
yeah.
still
Okay.
got a little bit of the
Well, see,
outlet.
that's what I was wondering if you could do that because really all you're getting is the phoretic mites anyway because you're not getting under the cappings. So I was like, well, just hit them with twice the gunpowder.
Now Todd says make some extended OA relate with the sponges. A little illegal, but it works.
Well, that's a thought.
But let me
I've
ask
got
y'all
some
this
I
vegetables
then.
do know.
listening.
I do know my one of my guys in my club. He takes care of my club hives, and he did the sponges, and he compared Aprivar sponges with the OA glycerin treatment.
Mhm.
Less mites on the OA glycerin treatments than the Aprivar.
How long it now? I've read the OA extended um, on Randy Oliver's site, but I can't remember how long they leave those on there.
I forget
Don't
too.
the bees just wind up eating the towels?
Not the towels now. Sponges.
Sponges, the
The
Swedish
towel,
sponges, the
sweetest
pig
sponge,
blankets or whatever.
the sweetest sponges. You get them off Amazon
Yeah. Okay.
and
Gotcha.
all that kind of stuff. Um, 60 days is what Todd said. He's done them.
Okay. Hmm.
Maybe I need to do them.
Can't hurt.
Let me ask y'all
I
this
wondered
then. Have
with
y'all
that slow
tried?
release.
What, Tim?
Go ahead, Tim.
Uh, it may have been on that website we was reading off of a while ago, and y'all please don't hold me to nothing until figure it out completely. But we haven't done any. We don't have a vaporizer or anything for with Mite, so on and so forth. But I was reading in there, and it was talking about oxalic acid and the different things. But it said one of the homemade concoctions was like mineral oil and something
Hmm.
else, but it had to be in a vaporizer. Any of
I
y'all know
believe it's
anything about that?
wintergreen. I think I remember reading that. I think it's now some people just do the mineral oil vapor, but I think I read someone doing a mineral oil slash wintergreen essential oil vaporizer. But y'all, I don't know about the wintergreen because when I get that in my essential oils, it's got a child safety cap on it. If it's got a child safety cap on it, I'm very leery about putting it in my bees.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
All right, with
I
the
think I
with the
think the
mineral.
theory I think the theory behind the mineral oil vaporizer is that it gives them less of a surface area on the bees to grasp onto the bees, and it drops the phoretic mite load.
All
That's
right,
the
Dan
only,
says wintergreen is harsh.
yeah.
All right, Fat Bee Man came out with that 12 years ago.
The
He
mineral
dropped
oil.
it. And then when the oxalic acid vaporizer came in the pan, the old pan with the battery, he dropped
Hmm.
he dropped the oil or
Oils.
mineral oil thing. You had to buy one of them bug sprayers, that's got
Hmm.
a propane thing, and it's got a
Right.
what do you call it? A looped coil of steel that would vaporize it after a while. I had one guy here. He used to do it every week, and he swear it worked and everything, but you're kind of dosing your hive with all that oil in there.
Mhm.
But the thing with the Swedish sponges, and then you got the glycerin, food grade glycerin, which is Amazon. The sponges are Amazon. What else? And then you mix,
Chemtrails.
you mix the oxalic acid, oxalic acid powder with the glycerin. You heat it up to where it's completely clear when you get done with it. Oh, we're lost Gunline.
Uh-oh. Where'd they go? Lost the host and hostess.
They'll come back.
Well, anyway, um,
I'll be right back. I'm
you have
listening.
to, you'll just have to go back to Randy and read up on that.
Yeah, that's what I figure. Sorry, I'm getting eaten alive by mosquitoes.
Let me see.
I thought my bug spray was out here, but apparently not. Unlock my car.
Yeah, that's the bug spray I use works pretty good, doesn't there, Bob?
A deep, yeah, works pretty good. Oh man, so I've really got to get out there and get the rest of these supers pulled off. I might just have to do a row a day or something. I don't know, and pull them and get them ready to go.
Gee.
I've never used Apivar, just will not use it.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess my microphone's
All right,
working.
Mark's saying
Well,
30
you know,
minutes, 3 weeks.
there was a lot of people saying last year there was bad Apivar lots or something coming out. I'm sorry, I'm spraying down with bug spray. So I think they got that rectified, but there was some issues, I think, with a certain lot number of Apivar. Did I read that correctly?
I don't know whether they actually admitted to any of that. I don't think they did.
Oh,
But
okay. I was
But
thinking they did, but I may be mistaken.
they've come out with some. The only thing they've changed is packaging here lately, from what I can see.
Mm-hmm.
packaging and supposedly, you talking about with Apivar? When I talked to them at Hive Life, they said that the new packaging, the strips are easier to tear apart. You actually get, I think, less, right? Less strips, maybe
No, more strips.
Well, the packs I ordered were 12 in a pack, and I ordered 2 packs
Used
just
to be
in
10.
case.
They
It used to be
10
10.
packs.
Okay.
I
So
don't understand what the
you
12
ordered
is.
2
They
packs.
come
For a 10 frame, you're supposed to use 2 strips
2.
per 10
Right.
frames, right?
You're going to
Yes.
wind up using 4 strips in a hive. So I guess they're figuring on 12 strips. You're going to get to treat 3 hives.
Well, all of mine except for one are single broods. Single brood chamber management.
What about it?
I said all of my hives except for 2, I guess, are single broods.
Well, you're going to put 1 strip. See, what is it? 1 or 2 strips per 5 frames of brood. 5 frames of
Right.
bees. No, not brood, bees, I think it is.
Bees. Right.
Bees.
Well,
So if you got a really nice 10 frame hive, she's packed out in hives or
Mhm.
bees, you're going to put two in per 10 frame.
Right.
it does say, where possible, rotate the use of Apivar or other similar miticides with different groups that control the same pests.
Yeah, but how many? What's the? It's 2 strips per 5 or strip per
So
5
remove
frames.
honey supers before application. Use 2 Apivar strips per brood chamber.
2 strips per brood chamber.
It says 1 strip per 5 frames of bees.
Okay.
2 strips in a chamber.
So if I've got a weak hive in a 10 frame box, maybe 1 strip.
Yep.
2? Go ahead and put 2 in there.
If you stand around and listen to the pro,
Well, they're weak because of freaking mites. So, I mean, if I don't kill the mites, the bees are going to die anyway. Or leave.
It's true.
So, hit them with the 2 strips in a 10 frame box.
and if you listen to some of those commercial guys, they'll be putting 3 strips in there.
I bet. Well, I haven't seen a lot of small hive beetles, so that's one thing I'm thankful for. I really kind of wonder, I put that vinyl billboard down to kind of kill the grass and to set the hives on, and I've only seen like 1 or 2 small hive beetles. I did put some beetle blasters in there. I didn't do the peppermints this year because I'm just not out there frequent enough to do that. I was thinking about putting the peppermint, maybe like, didn't you use was it the tongue blades that you were putting the peppermint on, Bob? What were you using?
No,
What were you putting on tongue blades and sticking in your hives?
that's outlaw mite treatment.
Oh, okay, never mind. Well, I had thought about using the tongue blades soaked in peppermint oil to see if that would help, or popsicle sticks or whatever I can get my hands on. But I thought about just soaking some peppermint oil either on tongue blades or Q-tips or cotton swabs or something like that to see, because I think the peppermint oil will last longer than the peppermint candies.
All right,
But,
so to give you an idea, the active ingredient of this product is 3.3%.
mm-hmm.
The active ingredient of the product that I was using, which is the same as this, is 12.5%.
Holy moly.
So
triple whammy in them.
Yeah, 4 times as much on one.
Yeah.
And it says do it once a day, or no, sorry, 1 stick every 5 days for 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Well, you're gonna have to send me that outlaw treatment.
Well, the thing is that it was given to me. I've never bought it. So we got to figure out how we can source the product in it.
Oh.
It's Amatraz.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would hit them with OA. Knock them back first.
Well, I'll be doing that tomorrow. Hopefully in the morning if it's not flooding. Who knows when it's supposed to be raining here?
It rained here this afternoon, and it's supposed to rain again tomorrow.
It rained here last night. It rained here this morning, and it rained here this afternoon, with like 2 or 3 hour breaks in between. So
yeah, we got the rain here, but the bulk of it kind of went away. Went away from us, I guess you'd say. We didn't get the brunt of it. So it's supposed to be decent.
All right, Lee, take it easy.
Deirdre was leaving work, and she said, "Was it today that I was coming over, or you want to wait until Friday?" I said, "I really need to get out there today." And she drove up, and the bottom fell out. I was like, "Okay, so I guess we'll sit here and wait for at least the rain to slack off some." So it slacked off and got hot.
Good way to look at it. If it's raining, they're all in the colony.
Yeah, true. And that's what I told her. I said, if it'll just slack up some, I don't mind working them in the rain. We can throw a pillowcase or something over the hive and keep them from. I've done that before. The pillowcase works to keep them from getting so pissy too. If you've never used that, have y'all ever used that?
I haven't used it.
Either take a towel, like a dish towel or a pillowcase, and when you're working like 1/2 of the 10 frame box, put the pillowcase over the other 5 frames. You just roll the pillowcase back as you're going frame by frame, and they they act a lot better to me.
Well, my bees stay outside whether it's raining or not. My bees are
Mine do too.
I got so many
Mine.
bees on the outside of my hives, it's ridiculous.
Oh, well, you've only caught how many swarms this year? 100.
Just nine. Just
You're
nine.
beat. You're beating Randy and Mr. Ed, aren't you?
But these are all in my backyard. I'm not going out finding these. They're coming to me.
They're coming to you with his swarm
Yeah.
wrestler.
That's it. I swear to it, it works.
You
I've
need
tried
to
all the
sell
other
that.
ones.
You need to sell the swarm wrestler in a concentrate, Bob.
That would, you know how much
Yeah.
that would cost a lot of money.
Mm.
I forgot to get some of your
and I
stuff while I
forgot
was
to give
there.
you the sausage too. I was thinking about that today.
Yep.
The after the stinging event, everybody was like, "Gotta go."
That and the heat and the stinging, right?
Who got stung up?
My friend that was with me,
How many times?
he got stung twice,
Oh, that ain't stinging.
but he had five.
Those are,
He had
those
five
are
of them
love
on him.
taps.
They had five of them on him, but I managed to get the other ones off him before they got him. But
Oh Lord.
he says a mosquito bite's worse than the bee sting.
Mm.
And that whole cutout yesterday, I got stung once, I think, on my arm where I
I think
leaned.
you got him caught. Yeah, you caught him in between you. But they
Well,
were very calm.
I wore my thick Levi's again today out there, and I got tagged right on the inner thigh again. And then I went to clean out the back of the mule, didn't suit up or anything, and got stung on my pinky. I was like, well, dang.
Yeah, my girls are all nice until you try to go and take their honey,
Yeah.
especially when we're in a slight dearth. They're still bringing them a lot of pollen
I made
around
a
here.
dramatic exodus out of Bruce's Ozark yard that day that I helped him pull honey. I was so glad he didn't record that exit. I went and jumped in my SUV and I hauled buggy. They were after me. Oh, and they got inside my suit, my jacket. I don't know if they were already like on my hat or somewhere when I put it on, I mean, Brian's son said it looked like there was an area where they could get in my jacket. So I think because I lost weight, my jacket is way too big for me now. So I'm going to have to go down a size, which doesn't bother me, but I just hate to keep buying jackets.
Well, it seemed like his bees are mean all the time.
His Ozark yard is just notoriously nasty. I mean, and they get after me every time, every single time. And he told me today, he said, I'm fixing to requeen the whole batch of them. He said, I'm tired of the attitudes.
That's what I
He
would
said,
do.
like a third grade teacher. I'm tired of the attitudes.
That's what I would have done.
Yeah, well, he had requeened some of them, but I think this was one that had requeened themselves or something.
Yeah,
And
but he should get already mated queens before he does it, because otherwise they're just going to get the genetics off the drones
off the drones. Right.
exactly. So they're still going to be in.
Last year, didn't he go through that yard and drop queen cells in every colony?
Well, I thought he put a lot of Greg's mated queens in that yard.
He's got a few yards, so I'm not sure which
He
one.
does. He's got like 5 or 6 different places that he has bees, but he had dropped a few of Greg's. I think he put like 15 or 16 of Greg's queens in that yard because he sold me 3 of them. And I think he bought 20. So he put like 6, maybe 17. No, he sold me 3. He kept 1, I think, that Greg dropped off to you, and then the 16 that Bruce had put in his bees in Ozark. But I don't think it was in that hive that was there. So they were already mated. But he's got 30 colonies in that yard, so he only requeened half of them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He's got some mean bees over there.
Well, I got a little something on some queen bees. Me and a gentleman was talking about this the other day. And talking about genetics and trying to get basically the calmest bees you can. And you got your VHS and all this stuff starting to come out now. Well, when it comes to mating the queens, okay, we try to take and pull from our most gentle stock, oftentimes, to get, we'll say, a sweet genetic, besides a hot hive. Okay, we want to do away with the hot hives and turn around and take and get a nicer genetic. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, I've got so-and-so queen, I've got some virgins, and she's wonderful, she's resistant to this and that. But whenever you put her in that colony, say you do a split, you got a queenless colony, and you introduce that virgin queen that is supposed to be just jam up, okay? To start with, she's not fertile yet. So when she makes that mating flight, y'all help me on my confusion now. If she takes that mating flight, how do you know for 100% that she's going to mate with a general genetic from a drone?
You don't.
You can't, because they mate
How
with
do you
5
know?
to 10 males from different
And
hive areas.
if you've got 30 colonies in a yard, you've got a drone congregation area somewhere close by, because those
Right.
drones aren't going to have to fly very far to mate.
Yes,
So
sir.
you're going to get
But
the best time to put, I would think in our area, Tim, the best time to put a mated queen in a colony is going to be the fall, when the drones are being kicked out. Because it's going to give that mated queen time to lay brood, or those mated queens. Say, okay, take Bruce's yard, for instance. He got 30 colonies over there. If he puts a mated queen in September, October in every one of those hives, we never get a brood break. So that queen is going to start laying. All the previous drones have been kicked out for the wintertime. So the only drones that those 30 queens are going to be able to mate with, or that likely they're going to mate with, are going to be the offspring of those other queens in that yard. If there's 30 colonies, a DCA is going to be right close by. But you're still not guaranteed they're only going to mate with those drones coming from that yard. Because they can go, what do they fly, up to 5 miles to mate?
Yeah, they do 5 miles to find a drone congregation
The
area.
queen does. But how
Yeah.
far do the drones go to leave the hive to a drone congregation area?
My mentor said 3 miles, just like
3
regular.
miles.
Yeah.
So, Bruce's drones can be flying over here mating with my queens.
Yep.
Exactly.
yeah. See, but my rub is
Yep.
Uh-oh.
We lost you again.
Yeah. I have to wait to see what his rub is.
Dang it. The suspense is killing me.
The nice thing about me, my mentor actually he produces mated queens all the time. So, and his apiary is always gentle. That's why I can walk right up to my hives and nothing happens to me. I can just put my head right in their doorway, and they just wait until I move.
See, that's the way it was when I went up to Greg's. I mean, his colonies were just so calm. I didn't wear anything. I put a veil on 2 times when I was up there and didn't really need it.
Well, my
So,
bees also are trained. I don't know if you guys. I don't know
you
if you guys
train
know
your
you can
bees?
train them. Yeah, I train them. Literally, they see me walk out there with a little bottle of honey, and
Oh,
they
okay.
actually will come out and look at me, and I'll pour it on the outside of the hive body, and they
Uh-huh.
all come right out and just start drinking it, and then
Leave you alone.
They already know. I do it every day, so that's probably why they know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they say that bees recognize their keepers.
Is that why they
So
all hate me?
that's it, Bob. They recognize you. They don't like you.
Bob likes dropping the boxes on me.
The boxes, rolling them.
Hey, it looks like they took to that box though.
Yeah, they're still in there. Just use the double screen bottom board and dropped it on there, and a piece of newer old comb, right? So they had something to latch onto and start building on.
Right.
Greg used Bob Benny Bees. That's what Mike Conley said. Yeah. But yeah.
Well, I think I'm gonna bug out, you guys, and I'm gonna stay in the chat, but I'm gonna leave the StreamYard. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thank
I
See you
you.
later,
can't wait to hear your cliffhanger, Tim. Hurry up.
before you drop out.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, that was just it. I was trying to figure out how can you guarantee 100% that it's going to be what you say it is? But I know you can't, but there's people out there that say, okay, yeah, they're going to be this no matter what they are. And the only way
You
I
might
can
even
figure
have
doing
some-
that, like I say,
The only way you can guarantee it is where they have an artificial insemination.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can get, true genetics.
Because you could be
Okay.
getting wild
I'm just
honeybees out there. They're drones.
But
also.
guess what? The first time you do a graft off of them and you put them cells in there and they fly out in your yard, whatever gets hold to them, that's that's the genetics you got now. At least a mix of them.
Yeah.
Well, if you, it's like Mark says in the comments there, he's putting in, what do you call it? F1 virgins. Well, actually, he's getting virgins, but I thought he also had some mated queens from Corey. And if they're putting out VH quality type drones also, and then,
Right.
I don't
There's
think
no
they.
guarantee
I
they're
don't
only
think that
mating
they
with your
fly
drone.
as far as everybody thinks they do. I know. The
I would
guy up
assume
in
they
West-
would fly that far if they could not find any drones. But if you've got an apiary, you'd imagine you'd have a bunch of drones around your yard,
Right. Well, that was what I was going to say. The guy up in West Virginia, that was when drones just came out, the little helicopters. And he put a queen on the bottom of that thing and glued it to her. And they flew around for a day, him and the skinny bee man. And they finally found a drone congregation area close to a wooded line area and all that kind of stuff. And it wasn't no 3 miles away. It might have been a half a mile away at the most. And then he's had some of them, he's seen himself because he's a queen breeder, that the queens actually got mated from the drones, like you said, Bob, right in his own apiary. Because those drones are not from that queen's hive. It's some other hive. So they'll mate and all that.
I just
I've
had
seen my
some.
drones above my hives.
Mm.
Do what? Would you say, Chris?
I said I've seen my drones flying in a big group above my hives.
Mm-hmm.
Now, early in spring, I know everybody sees this, especially early in the spring, but yeah, them drones coming out just right behind one another. Boom, 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 boom. You'll see them take off. Then if you sit there and watch them long enough, you'll see, I guess, a few of them returning, coming back wherever and however far they do go.
Right. I don't know. There's been, I never really got into that deep. I don't, it's the luck of the draw as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
That's why I prefer mine
I don't know.
already self-fertilized before I get them.
I think it's a situation like you listen to, let's say, like Cayman and all that. Over a period of years, they will keep grafting and out of their own yard, out of those particular hives that are docile, that are honey makers, the characteristics they like, and they will graft, they will get the queens, and then they will make the splits and everything with themselves. And I think it's to the point where over, let's say, a period of 5 to 10 years, you sort of self-saturate your area with at least half the genetics that you control, which is in the queen. And then those drones from other hives in your own apiary will have, hopefully, the other half of those genetics from that other queen, which is hopefully the same as the rest of the ones you've been grafting. And they finally will get together, and then you'll kind of get the combination of the genetics between the two. But it's a crapshoot type of thing. But I think it's just overpopulating the area where you're living at with what you like. And you'll get the drones from your colonies that what you like. Well, that's just my thing.
Like I say, it is. I mean, just my opinion too. Like you say, Charlie, I think it is. It's just the luck of the draw. Like you say, whoever she mates with, you hope she mates well. That way she can be a productive queen. Either way, we're still, I may touch a little nerves on this, but with you, whatever sensitive queen, whether she's hive, beetle, varroa, wax moth, so on and so forth, you're still having a treat with these queens in there. Even running through a cycle or two of brood, you're still having a treat. So is it? Yep. I'm not trying to bash anything or anybody, but does it really perform, or do their genetics really perform to repel the varroa mite, or is it just talk?
Well, I mean, as far as the VHS thing, it's what you're saying. Are they as hygienic as everybody says they are, type of thing, is what you're saying, Tim?
Yeah. Are the genetics?
I agree. I kind of agree what you're saying there. And I mean, now, I watched that video that Duck River put out with Corey, and they got that newer test. And I'll say it's a pathway that needs to be followed at that level. That's not me doing something like that. And, Corey's been doing it for.
I would tell you what Randy Oliver says, it's BS.
Yeah.
That's Randy Oliver.
Randy Oliver says it's bullshit.
He calls it BS because he says, he's got 2,500 hives. He says he's been doing it for 15 years, constantly selecting from his best stock year over year over year. And he says, I think he said he has at max 18% of his colonies show like sensitivity to like, VSH types of sensitivity. And I don't know. I know for a fact it takes a long time to breed genetics out of something, or into or out of, right? Like I used the description of we're breeding for redheaded children, right? So your family's got redheads in it, so now we just only want to have redheads in our colonies. So now we're only going to use families that have redhead genetics in it to breed from. Everybody else can't breed from you with just the redheads. And then, that redhead, she's the only one that can now have babies. So, these babies didn't have red hair, so that we got to get rid of them. Now that redheaded baby she did have, now that's the one that can breed, so that's kind of what we're doing. We're trying to get all redheads in the hive, only varroa sensitive bees. And I just, can it be done? Yeah, but will we live to see it? I won't. I won't live. I will never see it.
I like Paul from How High. She said, "I'm just glad to get the queens mated back."
That's
That's
right.
it.
Just get them back.
That's it.
He's got a point.
Yeah.
I mean,
But, I mean-
I got 5 virgins out there now and 2 frame mating boxes, and I checked the feed today, and I seen the virgin still in there, and I knew it was at least another week before I'll see any evidence. And of course, we've had some storms also, so we'll see. You know, it's just I'm just glad to get them back and mated. I got a little short purple hive behind me there. I went and checked it today, and I had dropped a nuke in there with a queen, and it's like it never took. So I put a frame of brood in there that happened to have a small queen cup with an egg in there. So I said, okay, just let you raise your own and all that stuff. So it's like I say, it's a crapshoot. You know, we all do certain things to, some of us get lucky to, we can get some grafting done and maybe, get 10 queen cell or 10 queens back mated, like Paul said. It is what it is.
I'm not knocking advances in any way, and absolutely, if there's, I'm just trying to understand, because in my mind, I guess y'all have to understand how my mind works, and I imagine other folks is like this. I'll get on
Hannah,
something.
have you figured that out?
Yeah,
Have you figured that out, Hannah?
All I can say is it's very unique to my husband. The only thing I can say.
That was a very loving way to put it, wasn't it, gentlemen?
That's the politically correct way.
My mama used to say we had our own language because I was the only one that could understand the way he thought.
But I just analyzed, and a lot of times I reckon I'll overanalyze. But I'm trying to put the common sense together with all the big talk.
No, he's trying to put the common sense in all the over analyzing everything he does.
Well, that's like I say, Tim. It's like I watched that video today with Corey, and he said he's done at least 10 to 15 years, and all he's really focused in on is the queen, raising, and he doesn't treat, so it's treatment free, true treatment free, because of his genetics and stuff. Now you got to remember also, I mean, I don't know exactly where he lives, in Missouri or someplace, so that might play a big effect in his situation as far as raising queens. There's so many different things that come in play, and for those folks that are willing to sit there and take notes and keep up with the lineage of all those bees and the pedigrees and all that stuff and what they did and show all that data. And he's, like you say, 10, 15 years of that, it's not, it's not for me. But we need people like that can do that kind of stuff.
Yes.
To try to, they've been doing ever since Varroa, and Varroa's been around for 30 some years, from what I gather. You got
but they're not getting better.
Yeah, they don't.
It's not getting better. None of the treatments really make. I mean, it's still a crap.
It hasn't really stopped them.
Right? It hadn't stopped them. So.
Right.
Why
you had the gal up there in
bees?
Minnesota. She made a bee, and this one made a bee, and that one made a bee. And like Bob says,
why haven't the bees adapted in 30 years to figure out how to get rid of them, just on their own? Why haven't they?
I think the wild honeybees have, in a roundabout way.
Evolution hadn't kicked in on that part yet.
Well, is it that they can't adjust because we keep screwing with the DNA of the queens?
Or that we just keep hitting them with different chemicals.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
I'm not one way or another.
that statement has been said by other folks, stating if you'd have just left the bees alone, they would have adapted themselves.
The strongest will
And
survive.
then there's science guys saying it would take 1,000 years, everything would die off and take 1,000 years for all that evolution to take care of itself. So we're never
knows?
gonna, like Bob said, we're never gonna see it.
I don't. I mean, I hope we do. Don't get me wrong. I hope we do. I'm just not too optimistic on it because I mean that's the science background my health science background. That's just it takes that a long time for that to happen. And then we got traits that skip a generation, right? So, I mean, there's like your grandmother might have had diabetes and that ran in your family, but only like every other generation got diabetes or heart disease or something like that. Well, it's probably the same in that too. You might get a queen that is very hygienic, and then her offspring maybe isn't that hygienic, right? So now you're replacing her with another queen in hopes that well, maybe that queen's genetic or hygienic. Well, she's not, so we're going to squish her and replace another one. So the only person that wins in that is the queen breeder, because the queen breeder says, well, she's not a good queen. You just or maybe she lasts a year or two, and then you got to go buy another queen to replace her and replace her. And then there's a new Saskatraz that comes out that they say, oh, this one is the best survivor that we've ever had, and then you buy that one, right? And it kind of goes around in a circle fashion there. Well, y'all gonna get me on that big soapbox tonight. We start talking about this stuff. This rabbit hole is too deep.
But it's true. Everything what we've said here tonight is basically true, but
how did they tend to them in the native country? Where did Varroa come from? Across the pond somewhere?
I think they're in Africa or somewhere, right?
Yeah, in the Asia area.
Asia.
Yeah, I mean those bees over there. That
so what
was
you're saying is our bees got the kung flu.
Yeah. Well, the bees over in Asia area had Varroa, and those bees, they were a natural parasite that they knew how to coexist and all that. And our bees over here, Apis mellifera, never had anything like that. And they're like, what do we don't, what to do about it. So
there's genetics right there.
You want to bring genetics from across the pond?
Well, I'm just saying, if you know that those bunches are already resistant over there, they have figured out they've either got, however they do it, whether it's something in their DNA or they get on one another and snatch that puppy off and go chunk it outside.
I don't know. I think they do a lot of swarming and stuff like that. It's like Chris, I think was you talking about the feral bees naturally know how to get
right.
Dr. No, he's up here and wasn't state New York. Anyway, he made some experiments in the Adirondack forest or whatever it's called up there. Basically, you put he found out where all the beehives were. He found out where the bees in the tree hives were. And then he spaced, instead of hives in a line like that, he spaced hives really far apart so they didn't intermix. And they did a lot of swarming, basically. So that's how they got a brood bake by swarming. And that's how they're kind of keeping themselves alive. But he also said that I forget, there was a list of maybe several thousand bees. Now these would be like solitary bees, not just honeybees. And when that Varroa mite came to this country, we lost at least half of them. They are extinct basically because of that one bug and all that stuff. So these are solitary bees. These are bees that, you see you know,
They
it
go in
you
the
know,
ground and
flies
stuff.
around
Yeah.
by itself, but it doesn't have a colony. It doesn't, you know, it might burrow into the ground or into some kind of tree or something like that. Nothing like a honeybee.
You need to
Kind of
go
like
after
a
those
mason
carpenter
bee.
bees.
Huh? Would you
Like
say,
a
Tim?
mason bee.
Like a mason bee. That's a solitary bee.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Tom Seeley, Dr. Tom Seeley, and all that. But he's done a lot of experiments and stuff, but you know, it. I know. Let's see. They've talked about the AAA lapse, which is even worse than Varroa, and
What is that
that
there?
it's another mite or a bug that doesn't go underneath the cappings. It's on top of the cappings. It is 100 times worse than Varroa. If it gets over here, I think we're done. And I'll be quite honest with you. It's it scurries across the frames. It'll kill your hive. The bees swarm constantly, so there is no honey making with your bees with that thing around. And all. Sammy Ramsey, Dr. Ramsey, he is studying that, and he's went over to Malaysia or someplace over there, Taiwan. He was at Taiwan. Anyway, that's where it is over there. He said in one of his live speeches, he said, I was so darn scared. He said, I left everything there as far as clothes, packaging, everything. He didn't want to dare bring any of that back with him. So,
Well, I was just thinking that's all we need is another critter to tear something up.
yeah, well, Varroa came over here because they were wanting to bring bees from another country to pollinate the almonds. That's how it got here. That's how California. That's how you got the hive beetle came in here through that. That's the big mixing bowl out there. Everybody goes out there, gets all infected with something, and then spreads it all over the United States by, you know, all these commercial pollinator guys and all that. So
The progress didn't help out by dragging critters.
Yeah. So where are you at with your bees, Tim? I know you lost some beetle problems. So are they've survived or?
They down. Let's see, 1, 2, down 5 or 6 now, and 6, and everybody right now is doing pretty good. Thankfully, numbers are strong. The one little split that did make it in the season, she is starting to thrive pretty well herself. Everybody out there right now seems to be pretty healthy. When I was out there earlier, that's what kind of gave me the idea about, you know, chit chat a little bit on the pollen. It looks like we've had a change in floral or something, because it's kind of went from the bright yellow to deep bright orange. I guess that's the way to explain it. And buddy, earlier before that rain got in here, I mean, everybody just getting it, come back loaded. So thankfully, what we got out there now is doing well. But it's just getting the time now between, like I say, this past week we was so doggone busy with life and work that there wasn't no way in the world we could get out there and take a couple hours and fool with the bees by the time we got home, and like I say, everything else. But
yeah, like here the weather's been so hot and whatever, and it's like I don't feel like going out there and messing with them because they don't want you messing with them either. And Todd says that he thinks that the beetles and the mites came in through Florida. Maybe the beetles did. I'm pretty sure the
Yeah.
mites came over. They brought a airplane lifted bees from some country. I forget where it was. They brought them in. Yeah, they inspected them, all that, but you know how that goes. But I think they came in when they were doing almonds. Beetles, I'm not real positive about it. And as far as the honey compound, the Russians were supposed to be resistant. I've heard that too, and I think that's been debunked to a certain level. I'm not sure. I don't have all the details on that. I don't like Russians either. I don't like, it's the characteristics of Russians where they, if there's no food coming in, the queen will absolutely shut down. You think you're queenless, but that's the way Russians act. And then they also love to swarm at a blink of an eye. So maybe that's the way they get rid of mites. And they were using that resistance idea early on when mites were first coming into the area. What is it?
There's
I'm
another little
hungry.
bit to chew on. Maybe.
Angry.
Hungry?
You're so hungry, you're angry.
Someone get him some popcorn.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not hangry. Or no, I don't know.
You know, you're hungry.
Hungry. I'm hungry. Who knows? I'm no expert on all this stuff.
Well,
I
Todd,
just
it's
know
not
what
like he said you brought them all in. It's going to be
I think he was just upset because y'all was picking on California.
No, I'm pretty sure he's right on the beetle part with Florida. I think the beetles did come in from somewhere down in Florida.
it might, because they're a tropical. They came from the tropics. I do know that they're a tropical pest of some sort.
Now here's
Figure
another
me
little
being a
bit to
bug
chew
guy, I
on.
would look it up.
If Lee was
That's
here,
what
he would
we
look
do
it up.
Yeah, dig into research a little bit more. But now, for us, not saying we don't have Aurora, we've seen them on our bees.
But we don't have a serious issue with them by any means.
They got imported
Not-
in Maryland.
Seriously.
But do we know, or is there science? Now, like for us, we have all kind of foliage that grows down here. I'm talking about pretty much, for the most part, you name it, it'll grow. But we have a lot of plants that produce oxalic acid naturally, and we'll use Virginia creeper, Virginia creeper, and I believe Carolina jasmine.
But they grow everywhere. I
No.
mean, like crazy down here.
Now I know the bees don't take and pollinate the Carolina jasmine as they would, say, just a regular wildflower and things like that. But during the flight process, pollination, landing, intermixing with other plants, do we know if the bees pick up, we'll say, micro traces of that naturally and carry it back with them?
I don't think so. And also, oxalic acid is in a lot of our green vegetables too,
Mm-hmm.
and all that we eat. And all.
We just kind of wondered if maybe, because like especially in our yard, like right here in our yard, we have tons of that, especially the jasmine that naturally produces the OA or whatever. So we were just kind of in our own minds kicking around the idea maybe that's why we don't have such a horrible problem with mites that other people seem to have.
Oh, okay. Possible.
Because like he said,
Okay.
we're getting to see them once in a while on a bee, but nothing like what we deal with beetles down here.
Or like what y'all have to talk about up there. I mean,
yeah, but now up here, if you see the mites, it's too late. where if you got to use a mite wash. So you need to start doing washes and see what, because the bottom line of it is you got the bee and the mite is in between the platelets of the bee, underneath the belly of the bee on the left hand side. This is what Dr. Ramsey discovered before he became a PhD. And everybody's seen the he came to, I invited him to one of my club members before he became a PhD. And he said, everybody's seen this bee here, and the mite was up on top of the head. And he says, look at that picture. He says, that bee's got a mohawk because the bee is covered with hair, right? And the hair was up like that on the bee. Why? Because your fingers do that. And it was a prop picture. Somebody, let's see if they're back. It was set up.
Guys, I'm gonna have to cut out myself.
Yeah, it's 10:30. I'm about ready to roll too.
Have to get to work, Bob.
And Mike Stafford, you're right on.
Monday.
Yep.
Your information obviously is correct. But anyway, that photograph was a prop, and everybody thought the varroa was up on top of the bee, and then he found out it was on a platelet. The bees actually have platelets where they're like armor, where they lap over like shingles, and then that varroa mite goes up underneath the platelet, and you can't see it hardly on the belly, and that's where he sticks his beak in and hits the fat body, or like the liver, he calls it, and emulsifies it like a spider and sucks it out. And that's what keeps the bee alive through the wintertime while it's in dormant condition. And then once he does that, and I've been at his lectures where they show a microscopic picture of where that beetle basically rams a spear into that bee's liver and sucks it out. And that's how all the viruses and stuff get started in there.
I don't know. Like I say, that's just some of the things that just goes through my mind. I'm not beating on nobody or trying to downplay anything, nothing like that. It's just questions
about it, which is a good thing. He learns a lot that way.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, how long you guys been keeping bees?
It's our fifth season.
Yeah.
Okay. Trying to, the biggest thing, for me, looking on what you're doing is your environment is totally different than mine. And you have totally different problem, like you have the hive beetle where I have hardly any hive beetles. And you got to deal with that. And then you probably have fire ants or something down there, which I don't even know what they look like.
On one you figured out real quick.
Yeah, that's what I hear. And then it's trying to figure out how to keep your bees in your environment down there safe and flourishing, productive wise, is the problem, and all that. So, but anyway, and it takes you a long time to do that too. You're always fooling with them, trying to figure out all the curveballs that they send you. It's either the bees are doing it to you, or the parasites are doing it to you, or the weather's doing it to you, or something. So,
Weather.
Yeah, it's well, like I say, it's a constant. What are we going to do with this? A lot of it you don't know until you pop the lid and get in there and see what's going on. But it's this year has definitely been
our most difficult year
Yes.
by far, like with everything. Compared to this year, from day one up until the end of last year was just totally smooth sailing pretty much. But this year it's like just one
It's
thing
just a bunch
after
of
another.
yeah pitfalls constantly. Yeah, yeah. That's like I was
Yeah.
saying earlier. You know, I went out there and I did all these different treatments and everything, and then half or better of my, I'll say 60% of my nukes died that year, and a lot of my honey hives were in well, I think they did survive, but my nukes were like, and I was just like devastated. I'm like, you know, I had to call everybody up and say, hey, I don't have any nukes to sell this year. And,
Mhm.
you know, they all understood that part of it because I got a hold of them really early on. And, it just, you get so darn frustrated. You want to give up. And, but then I kept persisting on and things have gotten better. Now, I think this past spring, I was watching, you know, I got to thinking about those problems and I went out there and looked. I got out there early enough and observed to see whether or not those hives had food, you know, to get through into the spring. And where my honey hives did, and my nukes had good, you know, I filled them up with sugarwater. They had the honeydew honey from these bugs that had come in here last year. And I'm starting to see them now. These here spotted lanternflies that put out honeydew that they make into honey. And but I did put sugar bricks on my nukes because they were getting a little bit, you know, getting too close to being foodless. So it worked, kept them alive and everything. So anyway, well,
Like
it's
you said,
10,
go ahead.
10:38. I think I'm gonna check out. It's
Yeah, I got the head off.
tomorrow. We got to go to work.
My bedtime.
Yes. Well, thank y'all, man, coming in and chit chatting and ruffling feathers and answering
Man,
questions and all that good stuff. We appreciate y'all, and Lord willing, we'll see y'all next Sunday or Tuesday, I reckon, on Bob and Lee over there.
Planning on it for sure.
all right. Well, we'll see y'all later.
All right.
All right,
Good night,
y'all.
guys.
Take
Y'all
care.
take care.
Later on, Bob. Y'all have a good evening.
Night, everybody. Oh, I didn't see Mr. Mike Conley coming in. There you go.
Mhm.